Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show. You are listening to the Wannabe Critic podcast. I have not said that in a long time, gentlemen. We are here. It's me and Ryan Dalton and Elijah Middlesworth and Jake Labriere, and we are here to talk about the Book of Boba Fett. Chapter 1 just came out this week as of December. I don't have the right month on my calendar. December whenever. You know, we're recording on New Year's Eve right now. And, you know, we just kind of like last minute decided, let's get together and talk about this thing. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here. How have things been? Ryan, do you want to go first?
Good, super busy. I've been in super promo mode because actually, as of tomorrow, so I just saw Jake's notes. Sorry.
I'm done.
It just says, from Jacob Labriere, man, Gabe is so cute. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Killed me. So I've been in promo mode because, as of tomorrow, my book comes out in 1 month.
Wow.
So I've been podcasting. I've been doing internet radio. I've been lining up stuff with like local newspapers and radio stations and things, and talking to bloggers and reviewers and doing giveaways and pre-order campaigns and things. And so it's been all promo all the time, which is fun. But I'm also very ready to get back to writing. So I'm also looking forward to the book coming out and just being out there in the world.
Very nice. Yeah, it's nice to... I've been seeing your tweets. I'm getting excited. I was getting excited because people were talking about it, like, on Twitter and stuff, you know, and, like, talking about how good it was. And, I, of course, you know, I pre-ordered my copy, and I was getting really excited because I thought that my copy would be imminent. But I forgot that it comes out in February, so that makes a lot of sense. I'm like, what the heck, dude? Amazon is screwing my order. But anyways.
They will sometimes deliver early, so you never know. You may end up getting... Sometimes they try to get it day of, I know. But I have had stuff arrive to me early, so you never know. Anytime within the few weeks, you might get it.
I get it a couple weeks earlier, and there's a review from the Wannabe Critic on my blog on the blog. It just says, "This sucks," and that's it.
Ryan Dalton is disinvited from all podcasts
this
from
sucks.
here forward.
Ryan is an idiot. Also, ellipses, poop.
Yeah. How did this guy sell 4 different novels? What a hack.
How did he get to this point? No, we're happy for you. That's awesome. I can't wait to read it. I love the fact that you show up and talk about your craft very unabashedly and you're passionate about it. And that's the kind of energy that I like to see brought to this show, you know. So thank you very much, and thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Elijah, what's been new with you, my guy?
Not a whole lot. Just kind of chilling, getting some Xbox time in. Started the new Halo Infinite campaign. That's something else right now. Like
it's so good.
I'm pretty into it. Like,
we just recorded our review of that tonight. Actually, me and Tristan.
Oh, okay.
Did. But there's gonna be lots of opportunities. I'm thinking about starting like a sub-series of Halo that stays regular on Game Club. So we you know, if anyone wants to show up to that, we might be able to talk about it. So anyways, But I didn't mean to cut you off. What else have you been up to?
No, just soaking that in, and then trying to brainstorm some more ideas for some new Beer Bros content. Hopefully something comes out of that pretty soon. And other than that, just kind of hanging in there and waiting for you to host another D&D sesh. That's for sure.
I've been planning a lot of quests. So I actually just bought 2 of these are for D&D quests, and then there's one I'm getting my there's like, I've told Ryan about this before too. There's like this story I've been working on for like 4 years now, and I've like had a real like a jolt, something connected for me, and I want to like write it down and like, you know, because there's a chance that it might get converted into a D&D game in the future. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but yeah, I'm just as excited for you to play D&D again, or, you know, Star Wars RPG. You know, so, and I'm excited to share that with the world whenever it's ready. But what else you been up to?
That's about it. Just kind of chilling, catching up on some games.
Cool. Jake, what have you been up to?
You know, bunch of stuff. No, not a whole lot. I finished almost finished the doghouse today. I put the roof on, so now all I got to do is site it, and it will be done. But other than that, nothing.
Can you come build me a shed?
Sure, won't be square, but I'll build it for you.
Awesome. I just need a shed so I can...
If you want it square, Elijah should probably build it.
All right, Elijah and Jake, I need you guys to come out to my place ASAP and help me build a shed so that I can have full use of our green room.
All right, I'll be down there tomorrow then.
Awesome. Hope hope your labor is not too expensive.
It's a case of Natty Light. That's about all he charges.
Oh, awesome! I can afford that. No problem.
For the travel time though, it's at least 2 cases of Natty Light.
Okay, well that's all you're getting. So don't push it, buddy. No, I'm just kidding. So finished a doghouse for your psychotic Weimaraner.
No, he's not a Weimaraner.
Weimaraner?
He's a lab.
Oh, he's a lab. I thought he was I
Yeah.
thought he was ugly like a Weimaraner, so I just thought he was gonna be.
He's ugly like you. Shut
Yeah.
your mouth.
You're right. Yeah, I'm sick of your mouth and your bald head. All right, I hate
We've
you.
been recording for 10 minutes and we're already fighting.
No, I'm just kidding. I love Jake, and Jake's just an awesome guy, and I'm just jealous of his doghouse building skills. Is what it's boiling down to.
I would be
stay
jealous
out.
if he had dog building skills.
Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome to get on camera. That'd be a great party trick.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Yeah, exactly. All right, gentlemen. Well, Elijah, he was being very passive aggressive about trying to move the show along, but I'll allow it. Just kidding. All right, so the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 1, gentlemen. I have gone on the record. There's a show, you might have heard of it. It's called Punch Counter Punch. It's where me and Ethan Maestri give our takes on what's current or belated, in the news. Like, it's like, hey, did you hear about such and such? It's like, yeah, what was with that? But it's like 2 weeks old, But it's a fun show. We have a good time. A few shows ago, I believe it was 2 months ago, that ticking time bomb going off, that's on my end. That's not on your guys' end. But the last time, it was like 2 shows ago, I went and said I thought that the Book of Boba Fett looked like crap. Like,
I remember that. I remember being cut deep when you said that.
It was less about it looking like crap and just more of just not being, impressed with it, like not really having anything strike a chord at all. I was like, I think Mikey actually said it best. He's like, I was like, his suit looks like a really bad cosplay. And I thought that was like kind of iconic because in all the promos, I thought it did look like crap. But I'm going to start us, gentlemen, this evening. Holy crap. Was I freaking wrong? My initial thought, as soon as it booted up and I saw Tamora, whatever his name is, I immediately did not like it at first. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, man. Like, does he have the acting chops? Like, is he really this character? And then all about 5 minutes of me watching it, it just clicked for me. And I was just like, instantly understood why people love Boba Fett. And I don't know, it just really, really connected with me. I mean, what were kind of your guys' like first reactions? Like, let's say first 5 to 10 minutes. Like, what's kind of going through your mind? Ryan, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I went in super neutral. Just, I hadn't seen a lot about it. I knew I was interested. I didn't want to. I didn't want to assume anything because I know it was supposed to be its own thing from The Mandalorian, and so I just wanted to kind of go in super neutral, no expectations, and so I really enjoyed it. I think it has a different rhythm and a different energy than The Mandalorian does. I think it's the whole thing about kind of exploring the underworld. I think is great, and it reminds me of what I had hoped like that canceled game. I think it was Star Wars 1313 was supposed to be, except that that was on Coruscant mainly. But I think this part of the Star Wars universe has been hinted at but never really explored, and watching kind of an underworld crime boss in the Star Wars universe, how could that not be fun? And I thought it was a good start. You had some good action, you had some intrigue. They did right away a good job of showing some glimpses of like who Boba Fett has become. And one thing that I didn't think they were going to go in depth on was like him getting out of the Sarlacc pit, and like I thought there might be one scene of like you see him like clawing his way out of it, and then they just move on. But they made that like a central theme of the first episode, like not just that, but what happens after and things. And so I like that they're not just saying, "Oh, hey, okay, this is Boba Fett in a story and an adventure." They're really showing you like character and filling in some history and things. And so yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Well said, Elijah.
So I went into it kind of neutral, like Ryan did too. I went in with actually your thoughts ringing in my head, Gabe, from that episode that you recorded. I was kind of like, oh man, I hope he's not right. I mean, because Boba Fett next to Han Solo is one of my favorite characters. You know, the mystique about him. You know, you only get to see him so often in the original trilogy when, you know, that's all I had before 1999. So I always had this, you know, he was the hidden samurai in the background that never had really any plot, but was so, you know, huge in the story, even though he didn't play a huge role. So I went into it with kind of a neutral attitude, my excitement, but then also my worry of disappointment. And I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I have a couple quirks. I mean, I don't know if he's just not that best of an actor, but I mean, there was a few things that he did that was kind of cringeworthy, like that whole fight scene with the shields and things. Little cringeworthy to me. Like he seemed real slow and robotic, almost like he knew he was fighting with CGI and he didn't know how to combat that.
Well, I get what you're saying. I think it kind of plays into that, though, because the entire time, you know, we spend a good portion of the episode realizing that he acknowledges that he's not whole, you know, by needing to be in the Bacta pod, you know, and stuff like that. So in a way, I agree with you, like just him basically getting sunned repeatedly in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, I thought that was a good way of saying, like, yeah, if only this guy was like actually in his prime type thing.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of story would we get? I almost feel like it says that without saying it, but it's like, this is what we have is an aged Boba Fett.
Right.
Realizing he can't quite maybe push himself the same way that he used to. So I think it's kind of intentional because it's very similar to The Mandalorian already, in my opinion, just in terms of, you know, this guy that's supposed to be like BA. He's going to have that moment at some point in the season where it's just going to be like, okay, it's one thing for Din Djarin or whatever his name is to like earn his stripes, but this is Boba Fett. So something incredibly significant has to happen in this season for us to be like, you really are Boba Fett. You know what I mean? So, you know, that was just my kind of like side tangent and rebuttal, retort.
Yeah, and I had to sit down and really think about that too. Like my main thing was I don't think that the show is going to be terrible. I'm worried that he's not going to live up to, however you say his name is. I always mess it up, so I'm not even going to try. The actor is not going to live up to what he needs to be. And that whole choreographed scene, I just didn't feel like that he had it. I guess he might have been playing it, and if he did, well done. But that's just kind of my worry at this point. Okay.
I think that's well founded. Jacob?
I agree with what Gabe and Ryan both said. The fight scene specifically, I agree with Elijah. I feel like he didn't know how to really act in a fight scene. Like, not so much maybe with the CGI part of it, but just in general, like, I felt like kind of what Elijah said. I feel like he was very robotic, and I feel like his face didn't really fit the scene either, because I feel like a lot of the times he was just like when he would shoot, when he went and shot that little wrist rocket, he was like, I don't know, it just felt really forced.
Whenever he came down with like the shock staff, and he's all, that was the one that got me. I was like, okay, he loves being Boba Fett, great, but it was a little like,
And what I didn't get was that scene, but then I feel like when he killed the sand monster, he was like way less energetic about it.
Yeah, it's not like he. Yeah, I think I'm sorry. Finish what you're saying, because I have something I want to say about just Boba Fett in general, and maybe you guys will have more to add, and maybe you'll see eye to eye, or maybe you'll have something to kind of, retort. But what else did you think about the episode before I say what I'm going to say?
I was just gonna say overall, kind of like what Ryan was saying. I went into it without expectations, but I think subconsciously I was kind of expecting Mandalorian. And so when it started and, like 10 minutes into it, I was kind of like, oh, this is good. But it didn't, and maybe it's a good thing, but to me, it didn't feel like Star Wars when I was watching it. But I don't know, maybe that's the purpose of it. Maybe it's supposed to be, it's a little different, but I didn't feel like it was Star Wars. But overall, I did enjoy it. And like Ryan said too, kind of exploring the underworld and stuff. I think I'm pretty excited about it.
I second those comments.
Ryan, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, all valid. It's interesting, and it'll remain to be seen. I think some of these things will bear out over the course of the show, like whether he was truly like struggling and awkward, or whether that was like kind of him, Boba Fett, trying to coming back up to speed and not being there yet. Yeah, it's hard to know right now because we're in the first episode and whatever his arc is going to be. If you assume, and I don't know, but if you assume that some of that was story driven, then that's an interesting place to start, because then it gives him a place to grow, a way to grow. Because it's like he starts out and he's rusty and he's caught off guard, and but it was interesting in that fight scene that it wasn't him being just better than everyone else that saved him. It was character decisions that he made earlier that saved him, which I thought was interesting. But it would be also interesting to see, okay, as the show goes on, is that just like rust that he's having to shake off? And is he going to get better? Or is this just kind of him now that he's got to deal with it? And is that a part of the character, or is it actor limitations? It's hard to say.
I think that'll definitely be exposed the longer it goes on.
That's the thing, though, too. And that's just kind of what I wanted to get into is the show is inherently interesting because you could go anywhere right now, because we realize one thing that I think kind of tripped me out, and it took me a second to kind of readjust, was they show him escaping the Sarlacc pit, and realistically that's probably maybe just a few hours after what happens in Return of the Jedi, but there isn't enough of a differentiating factor in the way things look and the way things feel to make it seem like that much time has passed to this new, we haven't seen young, in his prime Boba Fett do anything awesome yet. I mean, he escaped from the Sarlacc pit, which to me, I get that, like, it seemed like it was less of a struggle than I had thought it to be, because I always had fully believed that Boba Fett had escaped, not with ease, but I thought it would have been a struggle, for him to get out, and it just didn't seem like he really struggled that much. It seems like he kind of had it under control, but that's not a detracting factor anyway. Just something I thought was interesting. It's like, wow, you really could have made this feel bigger for him, because this is something we've talked about for decades now at this point. It's like, yeah, so, I mean, what happened? Yeah.
Well, you could say that showed how good he was, that it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Because one thing I've heard from a lot of people is like, oh, Boba Fett was built up to be just this legendary character, and he went out kind of like a punk in Return of the Jedi. But then that could be the answer to it. Like, well, yeah, he made a mistake. He, got defeated and he fell in that thing, but he was able to pull himself out of it fairly easily where nobody else was.
And now we have an on-screen representation of seeing what happened to him after that. And I think they did a good job, and it's like, I would have, as a fan, it was one of those things. It's like, I think realistically that's probably how it would be, because he had a jetpack. And I mean, the only reason that people would be digested in the Sarlacc is just for the simple fact that they couldn't get food or water and couldn't get out. But I mean, if there was someone that would be able to figure out how to do it, it would probably be Boba Fett. So it makes sense. I thought it was really interesting. And I personally do think it's an intentional story beat, that they're trying to make him seem like he's trying to get there again. I think something's going to happen when we see young Boba Fett. Because here's part of it that, obviously, we're going to see how he kind of came into his current situation when we see him in The Mandalorian and stuff like that. but I think there's going to be a moment of symmetry or something where we might see both of the characters doing something awesome, maybe at relatively the same point in the show, which would be kind of cool. But everything I've seen so far, like with the Tusken Raiders, like I want to pivot to that, because that to me was whenever I realized, like, wow, they are really trying to do something different here, and what a weird way to take Boba Fett. Like, what a interesting take, to see that happen. I haven't ever. I don't know if this exists previously in comics that this is what happened or what, but does anyone have anything to add to that? Like, what's kind of your takes on the the Tusken Raider aspect? Go ahead, Elijah. You can start first.
I'm gonna go back. It all blend together, but so going back on your comment about his suit, and how it looked like a bad cosplay. I thought the same thing when I first saw it, but now we come into a Tusken Raider village. Boba Fett's taken as a prisoner, and we see something very different than we normally see with Tusken Raiders. We see Tusken Raiders with black robes. Not the tan, not the desert-looking people that we normally see. Like they feel like that they have some type of sophistication to them. And then we see Boba Fett in the movies. He's wearing his armor with white robes. Now he's in black robes, and then so he gets accepted. I don't know if he gets accepted as an honorary part of the tribe at the end of this episode. We'll have to see. But it makes sense that he was running around in black robes and a gaffy stick before he found his armor in Mandalorian. So is this an homage of how he became a different man by being raised by Tusken Raiders, essentially, and now he's paying an homage to, his tribe and doing his future affairs?
Yeah, no, does someone else want to piggyback off that? Go for it. I don't want to hog conversation.
Yeah, I get the feeling that what happens with the Tusken Raiders is going to be a central theme of learning who he is and who he's become, and how that's informing, quote unquote, current events 5 years later, and what's happening then. And my favorite beat of the whole episode is right at the end when he's earned a smidge of respect, and then the leader hands him the water. Mm-hmm. I thought, okay, so now we have a breakthrough at the end of episode 1. And yeah, that was definitely. I mean, the taking over kind of the Hutt's underworld thing was fun too, but the whole arc to me with seeing where it was going to go with the Raiders was my favorite part. I thought it was the most interesting.
Mm-hmm. Same. It's because for the very reason that it is supposed to feel like Star Wars, but it kind of reminded me of like old action sequences within like the original series of like Star Trek. Is kind of what it reminded me of. Just very like.
That's exactly what I thought.
And I feel like that was done on purpose, because it wasn't super action heavy. Like it was, and the monster, whenever he like pulls the robe or pulls his rope off of it, I think that was an actual puppet that was right there. It looked real. I think he actually touched it, and I thought that was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But the Tusken Raider thing, yeah, I mean, I'm just super interested to see like where the symbolism leads, because a bounty hunter, kind of out there just doing his own thing, like that. There's no purpose to that except for, there's no purpose to that except for making money and being feared, and being revered. So, I mean, I would be interesting to see if this is his true coming, not coming of age, but just his true transition to this new person. It's like, this is how Boba Fett should be defined now. Like, forget about what the legends say and forget about what happened before. Like, this is who he is now, and this is how he got there. Which makes me think that Boba Fett is probably going to be a big character, or could be a big character, moving forward. I mean, it would be kind of rad to see, like, War General Boba Fett, like, doing something significant. That just feels like a really cool way to bring his character. I mean, literally a clone bred with knowledge of battle tactics, and like it's in his blood, to like be that way. It'd be kind of cool to see something like that happen, or maybe that's literally what he uses for the Tusken Raiders, like like all those, like a flashback of him doing all those tests and stuff like that. That could be, I don't know. I think for me, coming out of this episode, I just think about like the sky is the limit here with this character, and all of my doubts have been tossed out the window. Like, I'm fully on board. I'm really, really enjoying it.
Do you think they're gonna do the same thing that like Netflix did with the Marvel shows on there, like just cross fade all these extra Star Wars shows that we're gonna get now, Mandalorian, Ahsoka,
Why wouldn't
all
you?
them? I mean, it would make the most sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that seems to be the most moneymaker. I mean, look at how much we love all the Marvel Universe stuff. I mean,
You
they
get-
threw Daredevil in the new Spider-Man movie.
Well, and here,
Like-
yeah, and here's we've all seen the new Spider-Man movie. I hope. Jake,
We spoiled it for you
we
the other
spoiled
night,
it
though.
for you though, Jake.
Yeah, we already spoiled it for you.
So yeah, spoiler alert. Sorry. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But here's the beauty of it is, if you have all these proprietary things within Disney Plus and you set up the infrastructure, then you get to have potentially your like Avengers type moment in your own TV universe. And probably if they did that, it would probably be executed better than anything we've ever seen done before in television, where you have all this IP from different places coming together to do one thing. It'd be pretty amazing to see Ahsoka, like, if Ahsoka, Kenobi, and, like all these people showed up in the same movie or the same show or like a crossover episode or something, how rad would that be? Like, it could
Yeah.
be...
I
Oh,
feel
go ahead.
obliged to point out that Kenobi is dead.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Force Ghost Kenobi. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I think crossovers are half the fun of a shared universe, and
Yeah.
Marvel's certainly shown the world that it's possible, and if done right, fans will gobble it up, and even like in the shows, they're quietly, kind of the way they did in their first movies. They're quietly putting together the Young Avengers on these Marvel shows that are showing on Disney Plus. So I would be shocked if we didn't get a Young Avengers show within the next few years.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it is, I mean, if it is cinema grade or like if it feels different than everything else on TV, then yeah, I would spend hundreds of millions of dollars to ensure that it was the best it could possibly be, because I would understand that my core audience wants to watch this thing at home, like on a streaming service, and broken up. Like, if they had come out and said like the Kenobi show was going to be a movie, I'd be pissed. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So there's so much strategy with this. It's just different. The entertainment aspect of how we view movies and television is it's so much different now, and it's sky's the limit. It's amazing. So, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? I feel like I did. I do that. I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
Who are you talking to? First of
You.
all?
Yeah.
You cut everyone off.
Yeah. I'm like Michael Scott. I'm like, boom, you're dead. You're dead. You're dead. Sorry, guys. I just get excited. I get so excited. Any predictions as to what we think we might see in this show? Are we seeing a Jedi?
I mean, I would be surprised if Ahsoka and Din Djarin didn't at least drop in once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's true. Or if like a young Ben Solo shows up.
That'd be
No.
pretty cool.
I was just trying to trigger Ryan.
No, it's the people that actually like Star Wars that are running these shows. So I highly doubt that Ben Solo is going to show up.
Shots fired.
With respect to Adam Driver, who's an amazing actor that deserved better than Ben Solo. But no, I don't see him or anyone from the
Sequels.
the sequel movies showing up because
For some
Too early.
let's face it, what's keeping Star Wars alive right now? It's
shows.
the core legacy fans that are loving these shows that are actually making things that feel like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
It's like-
I don't expect sequel anything to show up. No.
Poe Dameron shows up and he's like, somehow Palpatine returned in this series. It's like, oh, JJ comes on screen. It's like, Poe or Oscar, wrong movie, wrong thing. It's like, oh, sorry. That actually sounded quite like Oscar Isaac just then, I think, didn't it? You guys were cracking up. It must have sounded great.
No,
also
it sounded awful.
A few years
Oh.
early.
Yeah, several.
Yeah.
So I mean, anyone have anything where it's like, oh, this has to happen, or like, Well, any predictions before we wrap this thing up, or anything else?
I don't have anything that I think like, oh, if this doesn't happen, I'm going to be disappointed with the show. Not really. I'm not going in with a lot of expectations. It's just just enjoying the show, really.
Yeah, I didn't see enough lore or enough Easter eggs in this first episode to really give a prediction on anything. Like going along with Jake's comment earlier, this didn't feel like a Star Wars show. This felt like a noir crime, it's something totally different that I'm not used to. So I have nothing at this point. I'm kind of in the dark, and I'm just excited to actually see if I can figure something out.
Mm-hmm. Well, the pacing and the tone actually remind me of old samurai movies, which is interesting because the original Star Wars lore was based on old samurai lore. So I feel like in certain ways, tonally and like that, I think they're kind of going back to the original Star Wars roots a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I find that interesting.
I was gonna say, to me, like even the cinematography didn't feel like Star Wars. Like the color grading, the cinematography, I didn't feel Star Wars in any of it. Like Mandalorian, I did, but I don't know what it was about this. I didn't get that feel from it in any aspect.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that was intentional, the way they did it. So I'm curious to see how they follow that up.
One part of that, I wonder if it's that everything is so like super clean and clear digital now, whereas so much of the older stuff was shot on like old film and old tech. I wonder if I don't know. I just wonder if that kind of subtly feels different. Because I remember there was even one scene with this, and I actually enjoyed it because I like how clear it is. But I thought, man, that is very like a crisp image, like super crisp digital and high def, and
almost looks fake. It's so crisp.
Yeah, which I am enjoying because I love high def crisp visuals, but yeah, it doesn't look quite as there's no noise in the picture the way like old film would have.
Yeah,
I feel like because even with the color grading, it was, I guess for Tatooine, I felt like it was still on par. Like it was very, pastel colored and kind of flat. But at the same time, I don't know, something about it was different. I think you're right. There wasn't really any film look to it, which I'd have to watch Mandalorian again, but I feel like Mandalorian didn't have that either, but maybe it's just the color difference that they did. Something was different about it to me.
Look, the sets for these shows, just the equipment that's being used is just out of this world, and like as a tech geek and just kind of seeing what that goes, what they put into it, there's no way to completely recreate that feeling we had all those years ago, the first times watching it, for the simple reason that there was a sense of it was clean and whatnot, but there was almost, especially like on Tatooine and stuff, there's almost like a lackadaisical sense of execution to where it shouldn't feel like super clean cut. It should feel a little dirty. Like, ask some people off the street to come in. Like, not everything has to be so perfect. And I think that was kind of what threw me off about this episode, is it almost kind of like Ryan, it's like that looks a little like too good. And even whenever they were fighting and stuff, just like everything looked so clean. Whereas, in like The Mandalorian, it's not that way because they intentionally let him get beat up and like they want him to like be dirty and like look dirty and like just get thrown around and put him in precarious situations, like, But no, I really like this first episode, and I'm anxious to see where it goes from here. So,
yeah, very much so.
It probably has no significance, but I did notice when they were offering what's the word? When they were all coming in to talk to Boba. Tribute, thank you. Tribute. Did you notice one of them, the one dude had like Wookiee fur?
Yep.
Oh, that's what that was?
I'm pretty sure,
Looks like it, yeah.
There may be no significance, but that really stood out to me. I was like, oh, that's Wookiee fur. That's interesting.
I did not catch that.
Almost like offering a scalp, like as a bounty or something.
Mm. It was kind of upsetting. I have emotional ties to my D&D character.
Yeah, we gave Jake. It was actually kind of baller. So we gave Jake a axe that has, it's really fragile actually. But it's made out of it was made by a special smith who does kyber crystals. He just knows how to work kyber. So literally the edges of his axe are made out of kyber crystal, and when he swings it around, it it glows. It doesn't it's not a lightsaber, but it will glow if he moves it fast enough. So I don't know if that's a thing, but it seemed cool whenever I made it up. And
awesome.
It's really served the team well.
It really has. It saved our butts more than once.
Yeah, it's we can't see anything. It's well, just tell Bumbu to wave his, axe around, So, I'm excited to see where this goes, though, gentlemen. And we should definitely get together, maybe even, whoever wants to, week, talk about it. See what we think, because that's what we did with the Mandalorian. And that's probably how it'll be for a lot of shows moving forward. So, anyways, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Nope, just excited that we got more Star Wars in our life. So That's one more lifeline we got.
Same.
I was also pretty pumped about seeing the Jawas.
Yeah, I love Jawas. They literally just ripped
It was so brutal.
It was. They
so
were
brutal.
Savage. They just took it right off him and kicked him and those little Jawas, man. They just run roughshod over everything. No one is immune.
They didn't even do the courtesy to shoot him. They just knocked him out and left him for dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
speaking of brutal, I was slightly surprised by the wrist rocket scene where Boba blew the dude up.
Oh, I was kind of surprised about that. That was a little gritty.
I wasn't expecting that.
yeah.
I thought it was gonna cut away right before it hit him or something. You hear the explosion.
No, he gone. There's
He
no
gone.
trace.
He gone.
Nothing left. So, all right, gents. Well, Ryan, where can people find you?
Ryan Dalton on Twitter, Ryan Dalton on Instagram, and wherever your favorite bookstore is.
Okay. Elijah?
Creep to your left on Instagram and Twitter. Beer Bros Eastside on Instagram. Beer Bros East on Twitter. beerbroseastside@gmail.com. Email the show. We're trying to brainstorm some new stuff and hopefully get back posting some things out there wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah. Beer Bros Eastside is in a limbo state right now, a little bit. Not with if it's going to be a thing. It's definitely going to be a thing. We just don't quite know what we're going to do with it yet. And I'm looking forward to 2022 because I'm cooking up some new stuff. So excited to see where you go with that, Elijah. And I hope I can be a part of it because I love Beer Bros. So Jake, any updates on your end?
No, nothing new. Twitter's Ferderko, Ferderko. Same on Instagram. And yeah, that's it.
There you have it. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for showing up, and say goodbye.
Bye.
Stay classy.
Toodles.
Well, once again, thank you so much for showing up today. I really, really appreciate it. Again, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing. I know that's the thing that all the YouTubers do. Everyone's asking to sub. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and who knows, you might even see a video every now and then that you actually like or may be interested in. Not only that, I do a bunch of stuff, so make sure you check all the information down in the description down below. We got podcasts, we got Let's Plays, we got all kinds of stuff for all kinds of fandoms. So make sure you check that out. I would seriously, seriously appreciate it, and I would love to see you around here more. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the Wannabe Critic.